Oh, what a roller coaster couple of days. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I found Myra West's video. And I think it was yesterday that she posted it. And I was so happy to see those Wisteria flowers in her room, and I thought, it's happening, it's real, we did it, we've got some kind of crazy roadshow movie on the go.
I think so, yeah.
With Suzanne Vega doing the title track. God, it's so beautiful to see. And yesterday, my housemate said she was going to the cinema with some friends. I said, can I come? And she said, yeah. And so we went, but turned out there were only two of us. And we watched Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. And I purposefully didn't read anything about it. I didn't even know which. She just said it's a Francis Ford Coppola film, and so then on the way she said, oh, it's Megalopolis. And I thought, and we missed the bus stop, luckily. We should have got off earlier. It would have been slightly quicker to walk from the Jesus College stop, but we went all the way to Drama Street, got off there and walked back. And she said, oh, up that road there's this really amazing tree. I thought I couldn't remember an amazing tree up this road. And we were walking along, and I said, well, let's go past that tree, because you can get back out at the top to the shopping centre. And so we did, and she said, it's this tree with pink flowers. And I said, is it wisteria? She said, yes, wisteria, that's it. And I kind of looked at her like, I mean, you're pulling my leg, right? You know something. But I didn't say anything. We walked up, and there was this absolute monster wisteria growing on the corner of, I think it's Orchard Row. And my goodness, the trunk, it's completely, I don't know, it looks like some kind of monster serpent that's trying to surround the house. It's going to surround the house and completely become a kind of house-shaped. Once the house falls down, it's going to be a kind of tree with a house-shaped what language is speaking. Sorry, it's cold and my nose is running. I'm just going to keep wiping it on the camera. Well, not on the camera, although I might do that as well. Oh, Oh, God, Myra's video. I did look into a bit about the organisation that her parents got into via the church. I couldn't find it. There's been a Netflix documentary about it, but I didn't want to put another Netflix trailer up. Except maybe Netflix actually funded this Wisteria project. So maybe that's enough Netflix trailers. But where are we? Really got to get myself a good mic. So we went and watched Megalopolis, and it really is a crazy huge film. It defies you to form an opinion of it. Actually, I think anybody who did probably made a mistake. Hello? Oh no, there are no ponies. Maybe they have a stable somewhere. Because it was very cold last night. Perhaps somebody put them in the stable. There's a jackdaw. What's your plan? So I looked up Maggie's review, and we pretty much agree. But there was so much in there that she'd stand any chance of getting a kind of coincidental, structurally coincident view of the film. You'd need about an hour. The film's 2 hours and something. There's a pony here. This pony always lives in this field. Hello. How do you do? You having a time? You haven't got very much grass, have you? No, not so much. There's a white horse up there. There's 2 of you in this field. Not very much space. The pony's saying, well, you never come and see us usually. You only see the other horse. So we're not going to hang out with you, if you don't mind. Take an umbrage. And well, yeah, so there's that. And then we went out and had dumplings at this little Chinese place. Forgotten the street. And we walked through the Mill Road Cemetery at night, and there was this 3/4 full moon. And I had 1 ton soup. It was fantastic. What a brilliant evening. Then we went to the pub. And then when I got back, I watched a Epoch Philosophy video about a couple of them. One about I can't remember the name of these two guys. And I was a little bit drunk and had to really concentrate. I should go and watch them again because I can't remember much about them at all. But it's really nice to have to get précis of books like this, so that you know what's there when you actually come to read it. Like, I so wish I had known typology before I went to study it. But yeah, it was on presentation, and this thing about what is philosophy, and I think that's the title of the book. But he took a little detour to look at a book that was a French early 1920s published text, talking about psychoanalysis and the idea that there's a kind of split in our views of who we are, in terms of who we are to ourselves. Hello. In terms of who we are to ourselves and who we are when we present ourselves in the public sphere. And that reminded me of this other interview I watched with David Cronenberg, actually that first interview, he talked a lot about psychology and Freud. And when I heard that, I thought, Freud, late 19th, early 20th century, Freud's psychoanalysis was kind of co-arising with public experience in cinemas. So I'd made this connection with what this guy was writing in France in 1920, and which was around the time of the first talkies, was it? And I started thinking, YouTube and psychoanalysis and these games that video games I've been playing with people, predominantly Myra West and David Lynch. So, God, there are a lot of people out here. Well, sorry about this. Maybe I should put it on pause. psychology video games, yes. And then I thought of that Wisteria trunk, and a kind of, well, it was a kind of thrilling chill came in, and I thought, man, you plant a wisteria, you really need to think about where you're planting it, because if that's what they do, you know what I mean? So, but then I thought, well, yeah, that's okay. That would be another way to go. I mean, that's like the ending of Furiosa, isn't it? Except mildly better. Instead of growing out of my genitals, the tree has just absorbed me. And it in turn is better than the option of being tied to a post and having bamboo planted underneath it. Which I suppose brings me to today, and I posted on that blog post, your emotions are valid, their judgment is not. That was triggered by Victoria's video, but I put on the top, I put this video of, I don't know what her name is, but her channel is Lovelise, Lovelise, and I don't know whether that's Love Lisa or Love Elise or what, but she sang this song, You Kissed Me Just to Kiss Me, that's what she called it. And I assumed it was her song, and I was really struck by it. And it's a lovely tune. And then I looked through the comments, and it sounds like they all said, oh, it's someone else's tune. So I googled it, and the song is actually called Like We'll Never Have Sex. And I've forgotten who it's actually by. I've forgotten their name. And so I was thinking about this sexuality thing, and that I keep being pushed, I suppose because I had the audacity to write under a woman's name. I feel like I keep being pushed to talk about sexuality and my sexuality, and really that was the kind of thing I wrote in my crazy play I called Introduction or something. I wrote that, and I put this sort of sexual innuendo in because I thought that sex was something you actually needed to get out of the way before you could actually think straight or start concentrating. So you can see that if you read it. Anyway, I don't think I've just kind of gone off the idea of talking about it. I do have things to say, and I kind of maintain that I actually already said them, and this business it's traumatizing. It's not so traumatizing now, it's boring. I kind of think people, don't know. But I loved your video, Myra. I really did. And I feel, whether it's justified or not, I feel like you and I did actually go on a kind of journey together. A road trip of some kind. It doesn't have quite the visceral sense that you get when you're actually on a bus in Guatemala or Salvador or Honduras or Nicaragua or Costa Rica. And I don't know what it's like when you can actually stop and get off the bus and look at the beaches and the waterfalls and the volcanoes and and camp by a beach. Must be amazing. And then Panama is fantastic. I don't know how you do it if you've got a car, but if you're without the hassle of having to get a car to Colombia, crossing the Darien Gap when you've got money and a passport is an absolutely beautiful experience. What you do is you get yourself down to Panama City, you book yourself a ride on a boat up the coast, and you can go on a boat down the coast of Panama as far as Puerto Abaldea. It's a little town that doesn't have a road connection, but you can go on foot, and I know because I did it. You can go on foot from this town to the highway in Panama, the one that runs down through into Darien. But you can't. That road is inland when it's at Darien. It's a long way from the sea, and there are mountains between the hills, or they're probably proper mountains between the road and the sea. So, and it's really dangerous kind of territory. So if you go on the boat though, you go around all of that. You go down this tropical coast with these beautiful beaches with palms and lodges, and it's pretty safe. And you end up at this little town, and then you can go even further, and you can go to a resort, a kind of very high class restaurant that this American guy is running, that he actually gave me really beautifully cooked spaghetti carbonara for dinner and breakfast before I set off on Christmas Eve to walk to Panama proper. And when you get there, you eat in an open kind of restaurant, just 200 yards from the beach, and under coconut palms, And you can stay there the night, and the next day it's an easy walk into this next little town. You're in Colombia. And then there's another easy walk of a few hours and you're in Capurganá. And that's such a beautiful place. You want to stay for a week at least. Scuba diving and fishing and hanging out on the beach. Taking walks and reading books. It's a fantastic place. It's a real summer place. And what a Christmas. And you can hang out at a really classy pizza joint. And eat really good pizza on the beach front. Made by an Italian called Marco. He speaks excellent English. I'm not sure how good he is at mathematics. But he gave me a free pizza. But unfortunately I couldn't afford to go and buy myself one. I so wanted to eat pizza at that place. And then from Capurganá you can just get the ferry across to Turbo, or what's the name of the other town? I can't remember, I didn't ever go to it. On the point of Colombia, in the Golfo. And then you can get a plane to Medellin if you don't want to do the bus ride. A short flight to Medellin. And Bogota must be interesting. Yeah, completely different road trip, Myra. Oh look, they must have sprayed, because the nettles, I've never seen nettles do this before. They must have sprayed this field with some, and they've planted some herbicide resistant crop. That's probably Roundup. Oh dear. So I really felt we were getting something together. And we've invented some kind of weird new psychoanalysis, but the kind of cheering thing about it is that actually Freud invented his analysis around, if cinema and kind of the public experience had changed significantly, and if psychoanalysis, Freudian analysis, was something that came up in that process, then what these games we're playing, these video games, are going to be able to come up with another kind of, if psychoanalysis is itself a phenomenon, then there's another phenomenon here. Which is maybe what is his name, David Luke? at Greenwich, the psychologist he's doing kind of transpersonal psychology, but with an angle involving psychedelics and things. And I think it's pretty well summed up in the that episode or that clip from the film Wallace and Gromit and the Were Rabbit. The monster is kind of everybody. There's no personal shadow work necessary here. We're all these monsters. And then this morning, then what really also cheered me up was that quite a while ago, my daughter sent me something that I'd sent to her when I had been in Bolivia a year or so, and I wrote this to her after I'd studied a bit of Aristotle's, or logic at least, prior and posterior analytics, and was starting to make sense of it. And so I wrote her this thing about. I had promised to write to her about mathematics, and instead I decided to write about logic. And you can read a bit in that about syllogism and tautology and scientific knowledge. And it would make a good companion to Lewis Carroll's book, The Game of Logic, in which Lewis Carroll claims that he can teach his formal logic to a 12-year-old girl. I think that's what he said. Oh, very young children can learn this, and it really is it's dangerous to establishment, because what it shows you is what I tried to explain in these 10 pages written to my daughter, that because our knowledge and the world are one, it means that if we can actually change our actual knowledge, we can actually change the world, and that's really the essence of witchcraft, or seems to me to be the essence of a kind of witchcraft. Witches are people who can really change reality. Because when you turn someone into a frog, that's what you do. You're changing reality, and you're not just talking about it. Michael Craig Martin. So, I'm just going to cross the road. That's Horningsea Cemetery, and this is a little row of trees, and the reason I'm actually crossing the road is because I need a pee. I'm going to pause the video again, or I don't know if there's anything else to say at the moment. I feel kind of tired, and that's better. See that trick? Witchcraft. I just filmed a different tree. I'm going along here because it's where I used to sleep. I used to come out here to sleep when sleeping in town seemed a bit much and when the weather was fine. And there's this row of oak and ash, I'm not sure. And I used to sleep by one of these trees. I didn't sleep under the oak trees because I've become afraid of oak processionary moths. So I think it was probably this tree I used to sleep under. I wouldn't do it now because you're in full view of everyone on the road. But when I slept here, it was, this wheat was high. And so I could just lie down and be pretty much out of sight of everyone. And I felt so nice and safe. There's a little bunny rabbit in the field up there. And there used to be a roe deer that used to come past at about just before dawn every morning. The poor thing, there used to be a path along there between the wheat and this was long grass. And I would lie kind of across the path because there's not much room on that bank, and it would make this sort of pitiful bleating noise and like, you're in my way and I can't come past. And then it used to come down here and through here. So So that's 40 minutes video, and something flashed up on my phone. I don't know what that's about. Maybe I'm running the battery down. I think it only had 50% charge. So maybe I better stop, since I've run out of things to talk about anyway. Thank you, Myra. Your video was just fantastic. And Victoria's videos are fantastic as well. I mean, I still haven't looked into the Victoria Rider phenomenon on YouTube, but by Victoria in this case, I mean Zero Podcasts Victoria, who is part Indian, part Cuban, part German. Wow. There we go.